Hello everyone, this is Darwell20 and welcome to episode 112 of Modern Skyblock 3. Today, all kinds of shenanigans planned for stuff. So we've got Project E, right? Hooray, Project E! I made myself a transmutation tablet, and we've gone into energy collectors, and we knocked out some, but not all, of the Project E quest line. One of the mods that we have never touched or even have any idea how it works, so to Google I go in a few minutes, will be this guy, Equivalent Energistics, which looks like it allows you to store EMC in applied energistics some way. Sounds crazy. Personally, a little hesitant to use it, but could be cool. Could be cool. The other thing I did is I Googled and I looked at the Modern Skyblock 3 changelog, and I found an entry back a couple versions ago that said disabled watch of flowing time to save servers, which is a great idea if you're making a mod pack, because the watch of flowing time can really have a negative impact on servers. It really kills your tick rate. However, I'm not playing on a server. And if I were, it would be a single player instant, like server, right? So if you have like 10 people playing on a server and they're all using the watch of flowing time for many different purposes, it's going to destroy servers and it's going to be bad. If you're playing in single player, not so bad. I mean, you want to be careful with it because pretty much any device that speeds up ticks has the potential to be dangerous. However, I'm playing in a single player instance. I'm okay with that. So based on the fact that the changelog said it was disabled not to balance the pack, but instead to save the tick rate of servers, I felt justified in turning it back on. So, shenanigans will be had. And I mean serious level shenanigans. Like, not a little bit of shenanigans, but a lot of shenanigans. I should whitelist this stuff so that the ranged collector will pick him up. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah, totally. Hey, look at all the Awakened Draconium Essence we're getting. Sweet. I like it. So today's episode will involve playing more with Project E. We will probably be doing a lot with Project E now that we have access to it. It's very much an endgame thing. I'd like to look at an Antimatter Relay from Project E, because that's kind of the next quest line we've got to do, right? So the Antimatter Relay, pretty cool little device. Basically, where energy collectors can turn solar power into EMC, antimatter relays can turn items directly into EMC. So they're pretty nifty, right? If you take a look at them, it says they can output EMC and they can store EMC, a pretty hefty amount. And basically what you do is you put items into it and it produces EMC. And you can store that EMC on items or use it in the energy condenser and all that stuff. What's cool about antimatter relays is Tier 1, not too fancy about it, but you can place your energy collector next to it, and it'll feed energy directly into the relay. So see how that's working? Okay, so just pay attention to how fast that was filling up a second ago. What's cool is that higher tiers of antimatter relays, for which we are going to need a piece of dark and red matter, are actually pretty spiffy because they augment the collectors that they are adjacent to. So a Mark II antimatter relay causes the energy collector next to it to be more efficient. So see how that seems to be running a little bit faster? Because it is. It's actually causing, it's increasing the amount of EMC produced by the Mark III energy collector only when the collector is next to it. And the Mark III antimatter relay does even more for that. So if we take a look at it now, see how much faster it seems to be running? Pretty cool. Right? So what we're probably going to do, and this has been something that has been done in the past, is use these to create what are called Emc Power Flowers, which is why I think the quest might have even hinted at that, or maybe it was the thing. Yeah. Mark I can output that and that and that and that. So does this thing tell you? Stores a lot of EMC. It's cool. It's good stuff. Okay. Looks good to me. So what's traditional in the past is to like throw down an antimatter relay and then throw down some energy collectors. Now, does this guy have an EMC value? That's like a really good question. And I really want to know. That is fascinating to me that they don't have an EMC value, because they really super duper should. Maybe because Chisel's confusing it, but I don't think that should be the case. I don't think so. Because blocks of diamonds and glowstone and glass and furnaces all have EMC values. So like I don't get that too much. But let's get collectors, right? And let's teach the recipes here, right? So you need to know how to make it. Now, do you know how to make blocks of diamond? Probably not. Oh, you do. You do know how to make a block of diamond. Well, that's cool. All right, cool. So with that, then we should be able to teach you. I'll just pop this dude right in here. Right, we're going to want. I'm not going to teach you how to make dark and red matter right now because usually it's best to just EMC that. But having them in the inventory will allow it to at least, you know, get the recipe taught. So that's cool. So Mark II, good to go. Right, so we'll pop this dude down here. And then Mark III, good to go. And now we can at least auto-craft these guys, right? So if I want, let's say 4 more of these guys. Well, let's say 5 more. I think that should be cool. Well, 4 more. Yeah, 4 more should be good. Cool. So let's get collectors times 4. That should autocraft no problem. Bing, bang, boom. Cool. And now we can get lots of EMC collectors. Now, the other cool thing is the Mark III Antimatter Relay totally emits its own light source. So usually, in order for this to work, it needs to have a decent amount of visibility to the sky, right? In order to generate a healthy amount of power. He has full visibility when he's underneath an antimatter relay. Usually this little yellow thing here is a good indication. So back in the day when EMC was like the reigning king of modding, you would totally create these things called Power Flowers, which kind of looked a little bit like this. There were many different designs for it, which involved multiple antimatter relays and multiple energy collectors. But ultimately, we're producing a ton of EMC just passively here, which is cool, right? And now we can store this EMC somewhere on an item called a Kleinstar, which is cool. So there's multiple tiers of Kleinstar, and we'll get into the first one here. So the first Kleinstar is just U. So we're going to need, I think I've got, oh, I guess I don't. Aeternalist fuel, can you get me enough of that such that we can get our first Kleinstar? Sweet. Ding, ding. So this is basically a battery for EMC. So you throw it into your energy matter relay, or your antimatter relay, and it'll fill up its EMC value. So it's basically storing EMC. And you can use this you can either place it in the tablet to fill it up on the left side, or you place it on the right side to empty it, right? So left side fills it up, right side empties it, and it puts all the EMC into the tablet for you. Or you can use it for a bunch of other purposes that we'll probably take a look at a little bit more throughout as we get into the series. However, if we want to upgrade this bad boy, which we totally can do, I believe it's just 4 Kleinstars. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. If we put them together like this, gets me a Kleinstar Zwei, which, you know, is the next tier of Kleinstar. So I'm going to get 3 more of you, right? And we'll just upgrade this all the way, because I should have enough EMC to actually make this pretty easily. And we can just still burn them just as usual, right? And that's that dude. Cool. And we're just questing right along here, right? So with that taken care of, we should be able to get 3 more of you. And for some reason, and this is also the case in other mod packs I've played, you can't find these recipes in JEI for the upgraded Kleinstars. But it's basically just 4 of the previous tier gets you what you need. So that's actually a pretty expensive item in terms of EMC. So you do want me to get the Omega for the quest. But I think what I'll do... Yeah, see all the dinging? All the dinging. I can still burn this up and turn it into pure EMC if I want. So that's cool. So I've got the Sphere, which is the second to last one. The most powerful storage device is the Omega. So that's like, we've really knocked out a lot of quests here, which is cool. We have to get Gem Armor, which does require an Omega. It also requires a Dark Matter Pedestal, which I think is just a bit of Dark Matter. I forget how much exactly, so we're going to create a pedestal. Oops, that's right, I have to type up here. Dark matter pedestal. Oh, you need things. Okay, cool. So we're gonna need not you, but another one of you. Not you. A dark matter one of these, and burn that up. Cool. So it's this, this, and this. Cool. Pedestal. Hooray! That thing is a nifty little gadget, the dark matter pedestal. There's a bunch of awesome items that you can get from Project E that all have some really powerful abilities. Like there's gems that can feed you, and there's this Archangel Spite that fires arrows. There's a Black Hole Band, which works like a magnet. There's Ignition Ring and Zero Ring and Swift Wolf Sending Gale, which gives you flight. And there's the Gem of Eternal Density that basically compresses items. There's all kinds of nifty tools and gadgets that Project E gives you. And a lot of them use EMC to fuel themselves, right? So you can fly with the Swift Wolf Sending Gale, but you have to have EMC on you. Having it in a Klein Star is cool. Or, you know, it can also just burn up Eternalist fuel or some other fuel source in your inventory. Like we did before in the last episode, where we used coal. Look, dude, I'm looking at an inventory, Evolved Enderman. I wasn't looking at you. Goodness, it's so vain. Oh, that guy must be looking at me. So, long story short, putting items on the pedestal can cause those nifty effects to work in an area around the pedestal, which is neat. Like if you put the Archangel Smite on here, it says on pedestal, fires arrows at nearby mobs, triggers every 2 seconds, right? The Swift Wolf, or the Harvest Goddess Band accelerates the growth of nearby crops, and on a pedestal, it does the same pretty quickly, actually. I might not play with that a little bit. So there's all kinds of nifty gadgets that we can play with Project E that are really powerful and fun. And we've already produced 60,000 EMC. So that's like half a piece of dark matter. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. That's pretty cool, actually. So you can get a lot of resources from this, and that's good, right? So with that taken care of, right, let's see what we want to do. So there's a couple approaches we can go for here. To basically, one thing you want to do when you get to this point is basically have an EMC generator of some kind, like something that generates large amounts of EMC. So you can there's a million different ways to do this, right? If you had access to EMC early game, you'd like create resource generators that like turn resources into other resources that kind of abuse and exploit EMC, and it's a fun way to go about things. But other things you can do is just, you know, feed mob drops into it, right? So we've got all these storage drawers with tons of items, right? They all represent huge amounts of EMC. We can export items from our applied energistic system, and they would represent large amounts of EMC. We have a ton of ore coming in from our void ore miner, right? And a lot of those, like Apatite has EMC, but it's a small amount. But everything else, the ores don't. But if we process them, right, like coal, for example, if we turned that into coal itself, it would be 128 EMC for each coal ore that we have. So that's kind of cool. We have such a stupid amount of resources. And I mean, stupid is the word. Okay, we have a stupid amount of resources here. I might want to investigate the idea of basically turning these into ingots so that we can get EMC from them. So there's probably a couple different approaches we could take to make this happen. Like silver ore, for example, right? One route we could go is just mechanism. And I don't want to go too crazy with it because I don't want to have a system that's slow. We want to rapidly convert all this ore because we're getting it pretty quickly into EMC, right? And we have such a huge amount that we don't really have to worry about like being as efficient as possible, right? So like we could use a pulverizer and turn silver into pulverized silver and then smelt that, right? Or we could get some kind of resource that like very quickly processes it and in some cases ore doubles. And I want to say the red matter furnace can do that. So it's a dark matter furnace. So I'm going to basically need that. And let's get more emeralds. For now, I'm just burning emeralds to make EMC, right? And that works. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could double click like that. All right, so let's try this out, right? So we got a furnace. So we've got the ultimate furnace, right? And we played with that before. But I have an idea that I want to try out. So that's the dark matter furnace, and I don't know if that's a quest, right? But we'll upgrade you to the red matter furnace, which I'm totally gonna like teach to the table real quick. Boom, learned, right? And that's an EMC of 10 million, so it's really an expensive item, right? But let's compare the ultimate furnace with the red matter furnace, and to do that, I'm gonna use a piece of coal. So I'm going to pop one piece of coal over here, and I'm going to pop one piece of coal over here. You can see the red matter furnace has lots of inventory slots for fuel, and it accepts multiple fuel types, including Eternalist fuel. So the different fuels from Project E all have really good burn times. So like alchemical coal has a 6,400 tick burn time compared to 1,600 from regular coal, which is pretty good. And then Mobius fuel 256,000, Eternalist fuel 102,000 ticks, which is that's a really long time. But then there's also Eternalist fuel blocks, 921,000 ticks. So that's a thing. But let's figure out with silver ore, or like we'll just use iron, it doesn't matter. And I'd also like to test this with diamonds to see how this works, right? So if I threw 16 iron ore into the ultimate furnace, that's pretty quick, but we got 16 iron ingots from it, right? If I throw 16 iron ore into the red matter furnace, it doubles for us, which is cool. Now, the fuel doesn't last as long, but I'm okay with that. Now, what if I throw diamond ores in there, right? Here's my question, right? Diamond ores, does that double? It totally does. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to set you to not auto-output out the back, right? And I'm going to throw the diamond ore in here, right? So we're getting way... Oh, right, I have an outputter there. That's right. So you definitely produce more than double, generally speaking, right? Because you get sometimes 2, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. Because this guy is giving me 150% main output and 200% on bonus output. And in a sag mill, like your regular process here is you're guaranteed to get 2, and you might sometimes get an extra, right? So you actually get a decent amount of diamonds if you throw them in the sag mill. But sag mill slow, red matter furnace fast. So my thought process here is as follows. Let's go ahead and use a red matter furnace from Project E, which I can't break with a regular pickaxe. So that's a thing. I think we need a red matter pickaxe. I think that's true. A pickaxe from Project E. Right, which is a cool gadget to have anyway. All right, so I'll take that. One more red matter. I wasn't sure which thing was overwritten. So there you go, dark matter pickaxe, Project E gadget, very cool. You can charge it up or charge it down, and the higher charge equals a higher break speed. Right? See the difference there? So that's cool. I like it. So I'm not going to use the ultimate furnace, only because it doesn't ore double, right? But the red matter furnace, similar speed, and also, like, pretty cool. So let's do that. Let's output coal. So what we're going to do is get export buses. Yay, cables. Definitely want cables. We're going to want probably an import bus. We might need another red matter furnace. We'll see. Acceleration upgrades. We're going to want to get as many as we can get. And see what this looks like, right? Because I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work out, but I want to test it because it might be really good for us. So where can I put you that wouldn't be in too much danger of channel abuse, right? This looks like a good line. So whatever line is going behind our compactor has only 4 channels in use, right? And that would be this guy. So what if we set up our red matter furnace here, right? And here's a question, right? Can I just, and I don't know the answer to this, right? But what I'll probably want to do is get ultimate logistical transporters. We will want to export like that, right? Now, can I just throw coal right into the side here, and will you be like super smart about sidedness? The answer is yes. Awesome. Cool. So the only thing with my export bus here is we're also going to need to do the capacity card, which doesn't look like it'll be too hard, right? Throw that in there, and now you can do things like also have iron. So if I threw that in there, are you going to do smart? Smart, 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 smart? Yes. Be smart. Doesn't look like you want to throw iron ore in there, which is a bummer. So I might need to throw iron ore in the top, which means I don't need a capacity card in here as much. So we'll throw you, and we'll do this. And if I throw iron ore in there, hey, well, that's cool. And then you're extracting properly? Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's throw accelerators in there. Awesome. So that's going to just relatively super quick, but pretty quickly, convert my iron ore into some good stuff. Nice. All right. I like that. I like it. I like it. I like it. Right. So iron ore, right? We're getting tons of iron ingots. We're getting lots of iron ore. That's cool. So maybe instead of import busing into the system here, right? What if we instead dumped you into an energy condenser? So what I'm going to do is upgrade you to a Mark II condenser, if I may. I only have access to a Mark I condenser with my current amount of EMC. So let's get emeralds. Really? Like, I'm almost certain I taught it, right? How much is a 9.7 million? Okay. There we go. Energy condenser Mark II, because that thing's going to be a lot faster, right? And what's cool is this will go ahead and extract all that iron. And what I'm going to do for now is let's target red matter. And this should basically turn all this iron into red matter for us, which is a nice way of basically just storing a ton of resources. So initially, this doesn't sound super fast, right? If we're looking at iron, though, are we burning through this at a reasonable rate? Pretty reasonable. But iron's not like the best resource for EMC, right? So let's talk emeralds, right? So what if we got an emerald and a diamond? And what other crazy high EMC value ores would there be? Do we have draconic ore in here? I don't think I see it. But let's see. Does mana infused ore have an EMC value? 504. Not great. Not a great EMC value. How about you? No EMC at all. Emeralds and diamonds, definitely a good EMC amount. Lead, probably nothing too crazy. Gold is usually pretty good. I want to say it's like 2048. Yeah. So we might want that. So if I were to remove that and put a capacity card into you, I should be able to do that, no problem, right? That's cool. Let's hold off on gold, though. Let's get the other two first, right? I just wish you'd be a little bit faster. I mean, there's a way to make him a little bit faster. I'm just a little hesitant to do it. Maybe we should do it in an isolated area. What do you think? Let's remove you guys for a moment. Okay. And I'm going to set up an isolated area farther away from a majority of the stuff that I have set up so that it doesn't, like, break anything. Because we're getting into let's break things territory, and that's always a fun time. It's a fun time that I want to have with you guys, breaking things. So where can I build out? Let's get some chiseled stone, if I may. I don't have any more chiseled stone. We'll get some stone. Clean up my inventory just a little bit. I could probably put you away for the time being. Right? And I don't think I need so many levers. Okay. I'm going to build out with my old pal, the building gadget. Nice and far away. And then we'll put you in horizontal wall mode. That should be a good platform with which to do cool things. Let's get some cables run over here. Okay, so remember, this is the P2p network, right? So you've actually got 25 out of 32 channels being used over here, which is a little bit concerning. But I think I'll be fine for the time being. If it turns out I need more channels than I thought over there, we'll deal with that at some point. So let's just run this cabling this way. My goal here, like I said, is huge amounts of EMC production. So hopefully my goal is achievable, right? So I'm basically going to run this right underneath this setup that I did. And we'll drill right up above here. Cool. So here we'll set up something very similar to what we just did over here, where this was more like a proof of concept experiment. This will now be a proper design. So by the way, we got 10 red matter out of that. Not a terrible amount of EMC. I don't remember if the chests retain their EMC when you pick and break them up, so just be aware of that. But let's have our red matter furnace here. We'll set this dude here with our ultimate logistical transporter cablings here. You're gonna do that, and maybe we will sleep through the night super quick just to make sure you guys can see what's going on over there. Right, so similar setup, right? Export bus, coal, and items. The cabling for this dude can be, oh, nope, wrong thing. So what we need to actually have is a P2p tunnel. And which is a memory card, which I'm gonna hope is already configured properly, but we'll find out pretty quickly. So you are in the process of crafting. So you are a P2p tunnel. Loaded device configuration? We'll find out if this works. If it works, ow. Oh, that's cool. Hey, buddy. That's funny. Remember that was a problem back in the day? There, now you can't see me, haha. So if this is properly loaded up, all right, it doesn't look to be. So let's... I think what we want to do is something like this. Copied device configuration. Loaded device configuration. Linked output side, 1 of 8 channels. Coal is going in. Perfect! Exactly what I wanted to see. All right, nice. So with that taken care of now, let's get our diamond and emerald things for exporting. So I want 1 of you and 3 of you with you and you and the cables. Cool. So you should be exporting pretty healthy amount of EMC going on right there. Now, let's try out a watch of flowing time. Remember that thing I said that I enabled earlier today? We're going to check it out. So to make a watch, we need 4 dark matter, and that's pretty much it. Watches are super OP. Basically, they speed up the ticks of any nearby stuff. And it can use fuel. So if we have some Eternalist fuel, we probably don't, but I'm going to get some. Let's see what happens if I turn this on. I want to say the hotkey. Project E. Probably period. Or C. Ah, there we go. So with that turned on, does that look like it's working pretty good? Yeah, see how much faster that was moving? I'm going to charge it up, right? So watch the speed at which this thing is moving. You ready? And the speed at which items are being pulled through there. And I should probably target my red matter. I'm going to target red matter blocks because they're even bigger amounts of EMC, right? So I turn this on. See how much faster that's going? Yeah. Right? So I turn you off, and wow, we suddenly have lots of EMC, don't we? I'm going to teach you the dark matter pedestal, right? Now, if I put this here, right, the dark matter pedestal with a watch of flowing time on it will speed up the ticks of all blocks nearby, right? So it looks like we burned through all the emeralds we have. So if I right-click this, now it's running, and it's just affecting all blocks in the nearby area. Sweet. This is where you can run into problems if you're playing on servers. This hurts the TPS. Like, what's our TPS looking like right now? Not terrible for me in a single-player instance, playing by myself. If this was a server with like 10 or 20 people who are all doing similar things, this would hurt, right? If I turn this off, what's the TPS looking like? So see how there's like a noticeable tick rate change, right? Like it's already calmed down to like 12.5-ish TPS or milliseconds per tick. With that on, it's a noticeable increase, right? So that's literally causing noticeable lag for Minecraft right now, having one of these watches on. So just, as an FYI, keep that in the back of your mind. Sweet. So we just processed all our emeralds and diamond ore that we had into red matter blocks. Into almost a stack of red matter blocks, right? So all the ores that we have, we could totally process in pretty much the same way, which is cool, right? So like I might want to throw copper and tin in that basket as well, right? So if I probably should have another card here for capacity, which I should be able to pull off, so that I can like throw, let's say, 5 more items I'll choose, right? So gold was definitely an ore type that we want to do, right? Copper and tin, right? Nether quartz, I think you cook up into like a reasonable amount of EMC. Yeah, nether quartz is not a bad EMC amount. Redstone, I don't remember that being a huge amount of EMC. It's not huge. We might go that route. Lead was pretty good, right? We checked that out earlier. Aluminum, do you have a decent amount of EMC? Not bad, but not amazing. Silver should be good, right? So we'll do silver. And lapis. Lapis, I feel like, is pretty good, right? Yeah, lapis is a decent amount as well. So those are the other 5 types of ore that we will let this thing process. So I'm going to turn on the watch to clear out the backlog, right? And I'm pretty sure this responds to a redstone signal. So if I had a lever here, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Yeah, totally responds to a redstone signal. So that'll clear the backlog of ores in my system, right? So right now it's clearing out silver and tin or whatever it's clearing out, right? That'll rapidly empty the system of all those ore types, which is cool. And it looks like we're like just barely keeping up with the coal usage. So that's nifty. We might be producing or putting one more piece of coal just barely fast enough in. If I needed to, I could acceleration, this dude, but it doesn't look like I need to, so I think I'll stick with what I'm doing. But that's cool, see? And we're basically converting all our ores directly into here. Could this be more efficient? Absolutely. I could be using a sag mill, I could be using a pulverizer, I could be doing things to make this more efficient. This guy is doubling all the ore and the emeralds and all that stuff, but we've got such a huge amount of it, that I'm not worried about being that efficient with it, right? So I think that's cool. Like, do you have an EMC value? Ardite ingots? You do, and they're actually pretty good. So I should be doing you, buddy. How about, that's cobaltite, not cobalt. That's interesting. What's cobaltite, and why don't I have cobalt coming in? Magneticraft, huh? Sweet. I'll add you guys to the mix. Instead of copper and tin, I don't think are a lot of EMC. Not as much. So I'm going to remove copper and tin, and then I'll put silver back, because silver is decent EMC. Cool. Looking good. So the watch will speed it up. By the way, you can have more than one watch on a pedestal, and they do stack their effects. It's insane. So we'll be playing with watches a little bit throughout the continuation of this series. But alas, that does seem to be wrapping up point. So I'll let all this processing occur, right? All of the ores that we were taking a look at are starting to be dwindled down, right? Gold's going to start disappearing. You know, lapis will start disappearing. It's going to just throw all this stuff away. And that's cool. I'm excited about that. And we're getting lots and lots of red matter blocks. We're basically processing our ores to make red matter blocks, which is basically just a huge amount of EMC for us that we can then use to get even more powerful and cool stuff. For example, I could get more Klein star spheres now and complete, and that was like no sweat off my back doing that, by the way, EMC-wise, and complete the Klein star sphere objective. Big EMC batteries, dun dun dun. So gem armor is something we're going to be looking at in the immediate future, because that's some pretty powerful armor. It's not as powerful as draconic armor, especially for fighting stuff like the Chaos Dragon, which I know we're going to have to do eventually, but we'll get into all that later on. For now, Untitled signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and take it easy.